怖い怖いもうちょっと行きたかった。
This is Mina, 26 years old, a devoted fan of Nicki, a member of the global Kpop group Enhypen. Those were some of the last words Mina read before she died. In the early hours of August 5th, during a live stream from her apartment, Mina took her long life while hundreds of people watched. As she is struggling in her final moments, the fans in her chat didn't call for help. They cheered, they mocked her. They stayed 10 minutes after she stopped breathing, typing insults until the police finally entered the room and cut the feed. Here is a photo of her that is hard to look away from. She is holding a bucket of sunflowers meant for Nicki, smiling toward the stage with pure, unfiltered joy. 10 days after the photo was taken, and just 4 days before her own birthday, she was gone. Mina ran a fan account with more than 80,000 followers, all centered around her love for the Enhypen group. To the outside world, she was just another stan. But behind the scenes, her dedication was staggering. She had spent tens of thousands of dollars on albums and video conferencing slots, entries for which can cost $1,500 just for a few minutes of screen time. She had attended these calls more than a dozen times. How does a woman who gave everything to her idol end up dying in front of an audience, part of which were actively cheering it up? It could be easy to end the search here with 1 billion, an idol, a troll, but it's more useful and more accurate to call it a business model. The chain of events began in June 26, 2026. During the Enhypen concert stop in Tacoma, Washington, Mina was near the front, holding those sunflowers, hoping fellow member Sanu could pass them along to Nicki. Sanu tried, Nicki didn't take them. Strip away the fandom, and this is nothing. A small gift that didn't land, the kind of forgettable non-event that happens at every concert on Earth. She kept to her seat the whole show. She made no attempt to find his hotel or contact him directly. Inside K-pop fandom, though, boundaries carry different weight. They are unofficial, unwritten, and endlessly debated. The invisible line between a good fan and an assassin, stalker, and fans police each other over the lines constantly. Nobody handed a ruble. You are expected to already know what it is. The turning point arrived 4 days later, on June 30th, during a live stream. Nicki expressed frustration regarding audience members who focus entirely on personal attention rather than the performance itself, adding a comment about how things would be simpler without such distractions.
나는 콘서트라는 게 모두가 다 같이 행복하고 다 좋은 시간 보내라고 있는 거잖아요. 그래서 저는 다 보고 싶어요. 여기 그 공연장에 있는 사람들 다 잘 챙겨주고 싶고 구석에 있는 엔진들은 저희를 잘 안 보일 수도 있으니까 그런 데까지 잘 챙겨주고 싶고 모든 엔진을 다 챙겨주고 싶은데 가끔이 아니죠. 뭐 어딜 가나 자기를 알아봐 달라고 하는 사람이 가끔 있더라고요. 몇몇. 그리고 또 안 뛰어. 막 놀지를 않아. 뭔가 즐기고 있는 것 같지가 않아. 근데 그게 보면은 약간 조금 흥이 떨어져. 뭔지 알죠? 약간 다 같이 재밌게 하자고 다 챙겨주고 싶어 하는 마음인데 뭔가 인지받으려고 하는 사람들이 있는 게 조금 아쉬운 것 같아요. 저는 너무 좋게 분위기를 끌어올리고 또 끌어올려주신 엔진분들이 많은데 막 그런 분들이 계시면은 사실 좀 뭘까 조금 이 콘서트 자체가 조금 좀 망가지는 느낌이 좀 없지 않아 있는 것 같아요.
This remark became the focal point that to redirect the fandom collective gaze. Everything would be so much happier if we just remove those people. Well, he didn't mention names. The hyper-connected nature of the fandom instantly linked the world to Mina. Within minutes, online networks converged on a single target. Sociologically, this reflects a high-context communication style, common in a digital fandom, amplified by shared cultural instinct like cookie uyuru in Japan means reading the air. A vague expression of artist grievance was instantly translated by the community into a mandate for community cleanup. It is a way to point finger on a target without legal or moral responsibility for what happened next. Within minutes, the internet knew exactly who he was talking about. Neither Nikki nor the agency has ever confirmed the comment was about Mina. It didn't matter. The fandom had already decided, and machinery like this doesn't wait around for confirmation. Once the fandom settled on a target, it's a perfect example of group polarization. When a crowd gets together and pushes each other towards more and more extreme positions, morality just gets left behind. Dismantling her life took almost no time. Mina had been a diligent student moving to capital to study literature at a prestigious university. She once worked part-time as a hostess in a type of entertainment facility. This is more like gig work or service industry labor, completely legal labor. But to a ridiculized fat movement, it was the perfect weapon. They branded her every slur available for a women in hospitality industry, accused her of using dirty money to buy the way toward Nikki. When she deactivated her account and issued a public apology on August 1st, the narrative inside the echo chamber didn't stop. Because an apology is never enough for the online pylon, correcting behavior was never really the point. The thrill of the hunters. They grew drunk on the toxic thrill of playing judge, jury, and executioner. In such digital swarms, any response is reinterpreted. Silence is seen as guilt, explanation as making excuses, distress as manipulation, and showing pain as seeking attention. There is a psychological term of this, digital dehumanization. When a screen turns a real person into a text scrolling by, empathy just turns off. Inside that fandom echo chamber, Mina stopped being human. She became a symbol, even a glitch. Abuse suddenly feel like justice. The people typing those wild things weren't born monsters. They were just everyday people around us, whose empathy has been completely short-circuited by that heated culture. In the early hour of August 5th, Mina went live one last time to apologize. She was shaking, sobbing, and able to look away from the comments scrolling past her. At one point, she said quietly, "I still want to leave."
もうちょっと行きたかった。
She was waiting for just one reason to stay, just one people to say, "It's okay, you didn't do anything wrong. Please don't go." But the superfans were there instead. They asked, "Hurry up, why aren't you done yet?" These comments occupied the chat window. As Mina attempted to end her life on camera, the chat didn't stop. They called it a performance. They told her to speed it up. They treated the young woman's actual death as the final act of a show their idol had scripted for them. By the time the police arrived at 5:33 a.m., Mina was gone. It's tempting to end the story with a single villain, but it's more honest and useful to look at the machine. Both Mina and Nikki were standing inside. What is a superfan economy? HYBE, the company behind Enhypen and BTS, runs a business on what we openly call the superfan economy. Its platform, Weverse, draws roughly 10 million monthly active users worldwide. And in a recent internet trend report, close to 1 in 5 of them log in more than 20 days a month. A tier HYBE explicitly tracks and targets as superfans, the users most worth converting into paying, protective, emotionally invested customers. Video call fan sign slots can run well over $1,000 for a few minutes of idol's attention. All of this is deliberate design, the actual product being sold. What HYBE already sells is a feeling of closeness, manufactured by agencies that trained idols to perform warmth, availability, even romantic possibility at scale for millions of strangers at once. Idols get marketed with boyfriend and girlfriend energy. Contracts often restricted their real relationship. Every live stream, comment, and handwritten notice coached, timed, and monetized. Fans fall in love with the version of the idol the company spent years construction. The actual unknowable person underneath rarely factors into it. And that gap is exactly what the company makes the money and exactly where fans can lose their grip on what is real. It's easier to point the finger at Nicki, but that misses the bigger picture. About Nicki, we are talking about a 20-year-old young man who is essentially a cog in the massive machine. He's been trained since he was a teenager to sell this idea of fake on-call intimacy. When he spoke on live stream, he was just a mouthpiece for the system, and the fans twisted his word into a clean-up order. He likely had no clue it would spiral this far, and his agency definitely never gave him the tools to handle a crisis like this. If we just dump all of our anger on him, we are playing right into the industry's hand. They love it. When we stay focused on one individual, it keeps the real toxic business model hidden in the shadows. And here comes the new PR strategy, the most chilling part of the story. Professional fan-run PR accounts have shifted their conversation away from facts and toward mockery. They are singling out the most visibly emotional mourners, the ones whose grief looks so messy or cringe online, and holding them as proof that the whole reaction is overblown. The strategy works by making grief itself look embarrassing, so the story curdles from a death into fandom drama. Anyone who's watched the Western cancel culture pile on or brigading campaign will recognize this tactic immediately. Ridicule the people defending the victim, and eventually the victim's death starts to disappear right along with them. I'm making this because I'm scared. I'm scared of the individual fans lost their grip on their own morality that night. I'm even more scared of the machine that keeps manufacturing situation exactly like this. In every fandom, in every country, over and over again. Ricky was not the only person who has ever put into a pedestal like this. Somewhere right now, another idol is being sold the same way, on another platform full of superfans. And other fan is spending money she can't spare, chasing a feeling engineered to stay just out of reach. What happened to Mina is what happened when an ordinary devoted person meets a system built to extract everything from that devotion, while giving almost nothing real back. Any of us, on our worst, most isolated day, could end up standing exactly where she stood. If this moves you, share it. Let it be a light on the superfan individual complex, loud enough that the system can't quietly produce a next Mina. This is about something much larger than one platform, one idol, or one bad night on a live stream. An industry that sells love as product and is never asked to absorb the cost when that product breaks someone. It all started with a bucket of sunflowers in the heart of a girl trying so hard to reach the light. The love was her purest faith. But in the end, she realized that the superfan machine doesn't care if the flower blooms. It only feeds on the decay. There is an old Okinawan saying, "Nishi Dutakara, life is a treasure." It is a reminder for people who have survived great loss. No matter how they package the fantasy, no matter how the algorithm sells you passion, no idol, no follower count, and no digital knob is worth a human life. If this video resonates with you, I want to hear your thoughts. How do we draw the line between being a fan and losing ourselves in this digital parasocial relationship? Please comment below. And if you know someone who's still deeply caught up in this kind of super fan culture, share this video with them. Maybe it is time we all start looking at these systems a little differently. If you are in immediate danger or thinking about harming yourself, please seek help now. In the US, call or text 988. Elsewhere, visit findthehelpline.com or befrienders.org to find local support. If you may act soon, call your local emergency number or go to the nearest emergency department. Your life is the only thing that truly matters. Take care of yourself. We will see you next time.